Hey War of Division fans, this is Nashtaters, welcoming you back to another episode of War of Divisions. Today, as you're probably already staring at my screen, you get to see that little Leela and his friend is making a wild return. A big surprise for all of us, and I know there are a lot of players out there that have been itching to get their hands on little Leela. Well, now is another opportunity to do so. But is it a good timing? We'll see about that, and we're going to go over all the other new content that's coming up in this week. So let's go ahead and begin in the shop. 1 year anniversary countdown shop part 1 is already beginning, and as you can see, I'm not really going to go over too much of the paid banners because there aren't anything really spectacular worthy of discussion. However, there is some other things that you perhaps might contemplate on spending your free Visiors. Of course, as you can see, you have the opportunity to buy Azure Imbued Fragment of Thought. If you're so inclined to do so, I don't really think it's a great deal, but if you have a lot of Visiors and you're a light spender, this is something maybe thinking about doing. Personally, I don't think it's worth it. But this is a very surprising pack, or should I say packs, because you have Platinum Maze, Smart Coat, Lohengrin, and Fides Lacerna. They're all +5s, and they give you actually the recommended subtypes, with the exception of Fides Lacerna. I still think I will go with Barrier myself, but if you're a fan of the shield, this is something to contemplate about. Okay, so we've been talking about how players are complaining about how this game is grindy, too much farming, and ultimately every single week new content comes out. We spend hours upon hours farming in multiplayer. Now, I've been a huge person that emphasizes on the idea that time is a human being's most valuable resource. It doesn't really matter if you're playing a video game, or you're working, or you're spending time with people. That is your most valuable resource. We have a very limited amount of time on Earth, believe it or not, right? There's only 2 things that's for sure in life: death and taxes. So if you're going to take that concept into consideration and you're complaining about the grind, now it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Because now the game is giving you opportunity to spend 2,000 Visiors free to buy the +5 items that people have been complaining about in terms of long-term farming. So if you really wanted to do that, now go ahead and do it. And by the way, if you're a light spender, you're getting a lot of free gems. And if you're a heavy spender, I personally think this is actually a great value, because this is more than makes up for the time, right? For example, if a guy makes a good amount of money for a living, has a good amount of resources to spend on games like this, ultimately that person is most likely seeking the opportunity to play the game when he or she logs in. Therefore, probably don't want to spend about 30 hours a week farming for these items. Boom, one shot, 2,000 free gems, which essentially is 1 week worth when you're logging in the game. But just bear in mind, another problem you're going to be facing is you still have to farm books. So maybe they're going to give us something like that in the future, where you can buy tons of books, and voila, here you go, they give you tons of books. Although in my opinion, this is not a ton of books. For 1,000 gems giving you 150, I think they should give us a little bit more, because these books are by far the most annoying thing to farm in this entire game. So I think if they gave us 500 books for 1,000 gems, I think a lot of players will probably jump on that. I think that's essentially all there is to talk about in terms of these, because there's not much else in terms of value here. I was hoping they would give us more of the Fragment of Thoughts using gold, but unfortunately they're not giving us that option. So Little Leela and Ryu are back, Halloween edition, and as you can see, they are only limiting you to one pack of 40 shards for 2,000 gems. So this essentially is just a rerun, therefore you're not going to get the full go, right? If you are a spender, light spender, you may contemplate about spending the 60 paid gems for 5. I think that's a pretty decent value there. And of course, if you want to go hardcore into it, you have the opportunity to buy 120 shards by using 6,000 paid gems. I think I will leave that up to the individual decision maker, because I personally don't think that's a great value. But because of the bonuses that you do get with those packs, it's a possibility that some people might value those a bit higher than me. Today is water day, so don't forget to pick up your water unit shards. Now let's go ahead and go to the mock shop. And that's the first time I summoned for little Leela. I could not get her from the summoning board. Unfortunately, I was pretty pissed. But then I realized they give you guaranteed Little Leela and Halloween Ryu if you summon, I think, what, 20 times? So 20 times means, well, you essentially get 2,000 medals, because you will get 100 medals per summon session. So therefore, 20 times will give you 2,000. So is that something worthy of doing? I'm not really sure, to be quite honest, but if this is somebody you've been wanting badly and you just summon and can't get her, you still have to guaranteed as long as you exchange the medals. Personally, I would still rather get the unit without having to exchange it, because those medals can essentially get you tons of shards, right? 100 shards. As you can see, I already got the quest started and finished. So one important thing to notice is that you don't really have to clear all these at the same time. You can just individually clear all these. But if you actually wanted the bonus shards of Craze, then you will have to clear them all. And then here, the recommended for lower level ones is actually quite easy as well. Again, you don't have to clear them all other than when you're going for the shard. And here's the interesting aspect of the game now. When you're doing the normal quests, all you have to do is do it normally. And boom, you get all your little bonuses. But if you bring all water units, you will be getting a bonus of Craze shards every single time you play. So therefore, you will have an opportunity to gain 50 shards just simply by clearing these super easy quests, bringing all water units. Is that something we're going to be wanting to see more and more in the future? I think the fact that it's just bonuses, I don't think it's a bad idea, because end of the day, if you have a lot of good units of specific elements, why not get the bonus for taking the time to invest in those units? And if you don't, maybe that's something you need to contemplate thinking about going for in the future. Start working on maybe 2 to 3 units of individual elements, and then therefore you can just bring a friend and hopefully you can clear all those content fairly easily, therefore getting all those free bonuses. Alright, we are now on the summoning banner. As you can see, where I'm on the 1-year anniversary countdown part 1, once a day, only free 10x summons. There is no guaranteed URs, however, you can perform up to 7 10x summons throughout the period. We're going to be summoning that at the very end here. I just want to show you what else is going on. We have Little Leela, of course, on her own banner. But here you will also have the opportunity to get the Merilith MR card. So I guess they really are essentially running out of units to give us before the 1-year anniversary. I talked about how they're not being lazy. I think it's time just for them to have a little break. And I think it's time to give the players a little break from having to deal with all these new units and new cards. So I think this is one of those situations where they decided to inject some older units to give players the opportunity to spend all their Visiors, therefore potentially have to spend some money during the 1-year anniversary. So I think that's kind of the whole situation we're dealing with. A lot of players are probably going to be kind of like, you know, have to make a hard decision of should they go for a unit that they've been perhaps waiting on, Little Leela and Ryu, or do they want to kind of wait for the 1-year anniversary. Sorry for you guys to actually have to make these tough decisions, but unfortunately that's part of life. So as you can see, they have their own separate banners, which is a very welcoming addition. Of course, they're bringing back the 2-step 10x7, which you can get 100 shard UR vision card selector ticket. Always, in my opinion, the best bang for your buck if you're a spender, period. Doesn't really matter if you're a light spender or heavy spender, this is for sure the best. And also, they're going to give you the one-time win and one-time earth. Therefore, you have an opportunity to attempt to get one of those special units at the end. And it's a super gamble, right? Because we all know there are tons of units of those elements. So is it really worth it? My personal recommendation would be absolutely not. 2,000 paid gems for the nothing guaranteed per se is not really worth it. And I think that's essentially it. So we're going to end this video with a 10x free summon. Let's see what we get. I did put skip animation because there's no reason to kind of wait. Oh, what do we get? Did we get anything good? No, unfortunately I did not. So that's okay, right? It is free. In the day, it's just essentially giving you free shards. That's all the time for this video. So remember, if you are going to summon for these 2 units, I wish you the best of luck, because again, if you decide that you are going to go for these 2 units, most likely you may have to miss out on some of those Final Fantasy X /anniversary summoning banners. Personally, I hope you make a decision that ultimately makes you feel happy. It doesn't really matter about summoning, saving, all this stuff. End of the day, it's just a game. As long as you're happy with what you're going for, then that's all that really matters. So until next time, take care of yourself and all your loved ones. Nashtaters out of here.